It's the book of Revelations, chapter 12, and verse 17, and it reads, "And the dragon was wroth with the woman, and went to make war with the remnant of her seed, which keep the commandments of the Most High, and have the testimony of Yahushua Mashiach." I want to start off by giving all praise, all honor, and all glory to God, Lord Yahweh, Hashem Yahushai, by Hashem. Hakodash. I want to say double honors to the elders, to the apostles that taught me this truth. I want to say peace and salutations to the Akim across the four corners of the earth, pushing this truth with faith and with sincerity, as well as risking their lives and the freedom to do so, now more so than ever. Shalom to the Akim and the Aquat, to listening and learning. Lord willingly, this is edifying. Shalom to the Israelite foreigners scattered abroad. Other nations appearing like the other nations, but subscribing to this truth. To you, I say shalom. It's Brother Yawasap, and I'm coming at you with another lesson through the Spirit and through the power of Yahweh by Hashem Yahushai. And pretty much this lesson is inspired by an article. A lot going on. The time that we're living in. Brothers say, you ain't saying Jacob's trouble coming. We living it. And the indication of that is because basically you tribes, you so-called blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans, Seminole Indians, West Indians, and Haitians are being pretty much segregated. Legislation is being passed that's actually going to affect you. Of course, we all know about the Northern Kingdom and the ice raids and whatnot, and now we're finding out that that going after the Southern Kingdom, which is the tribe of Levi or the Haitians. And I've been read about that. It's the spirit that the Lord got brothers bringing it out now, but I read about it a minute ago because Springfield, Ohio, pretty much accepted a large influx of Levites. Springfield is the same city that they said pretty much the Levites or the Haitians were pretty much eating dogs and cats and shit. But then there was another article, I know the brother from the West Coast did it, and they was going into how a lot of the companies around there loved the fact that those Levites, the way that they work, the work ethic. They was going into how they would take, one of them over so many Babylonians, because these Babylonians are spoiled, and on top of being spoiled, they're taking away, a lot of social services and things that is not only going to affect, you 2/3 Jakes, and even those brothers and sisters that believe. Because we all, it's a time of Jacob's trouble, you know what I mean? Matter of fact, let me get that. And then I'm going to go into the article, because the thing is, this not slowing down, it's going to increase. This devil, the scriptures talk about him being wroth. When you read that in the NLT, it says, and the dragon was angry at the woman. So the dragon represents these red Idumeans, the Edomites, Esau, Edom, and the woman represents the seed of, or the elect of the nation of Israel, because the woman or the bride is married on to Yahushua, and that's why it says going to go, pretty much it says, against the rest of her children, all who keep the Most High's commandments and maintain their testimony for Yahushua's sake. Well, it says Jesus, but the point being, it's going 2/3 gonna get caught up in it, but it's going to be ultimately a testimony to the true believers. A lot going on, It's so spiritual, not to make this about me. That's how I keep my sanity. And I know Jake be saying certain shit, but at the same time, it's like, that's how I deal with it, you know what I mean? This is my testimony, you know what I'm saying? Anyhow, and trust and believe, I don't talk as much as people think. This shit that Jake be like, I ain't know that. So it's like, anyhow, but at the time when they start turning up on Levi, this devil at my job just start turning, and I don't even know what the fuck, I could call him a bigot or a racist. I'm racist, so I ain't even really offended about the racist part. He don't really speak to me for the most part. What offended me about the job is these goofy ass hunkies, they allowed everybody else to switch. That's how I know it's spiritual. Lord, like, no, you can't. So I'm trying to get up out of there. And the thing is, which I realize there's power in the will of y'all, I'm trying to force my hand. The Lord might be like, you got to stay there. You know what I mean? Like, I'm trying not to, the thing is right now, brother made the title of a video. It's so many videos and so much spiritually going on, I don't even get a chance. I'm still trying to work on some videos I was watching last week for my cap. That didn't even work out right. But brother titled the video, Brothers is Spiritual Crash Outs, or the elect or spiritual crash out, something roughly paraphrased, is you don't want to crash out carnally. Now the thing is, if it's the will of the Lord and that's your lot and that's what the Lord designed you and prepared you and that's what it is. You know what I mean? The thing is, you gotta be understanding the will of the Lord, you know. And the thing is, we gotta remain, you know, spiritual, you know. So, you know, I mean, that's a lot going on, you know. But again, like I say, it's kind of, you know, I'm kind of appreciative and what's the word? Honored that the Lord allowed me to, because I could see the spiritual climate of this place. I work around Edomites, and them motherfuckers unhappy, and then they showing me right now how you unhappy. You know, it's funny because the guy that pretty much like I ain't gonna say he's not the plant supervisor. He's like he's not the plant manager. He's like the plant supervisor or something like that. So he's up under the big boss, and you know, he cool for the most part. You know what I mean? But you know, never trust. Scripture say never trust thine enemy. But what I'm saying is, like, you know, this guy he ain't openly called me no nigga. He ain't openly said boy. You know, I had to check his ass one day. And but it's like, you know, things were said and they looking at it like, okay, deal with it. Be happy, nigga, you got this job. And I'm thinking to myself like, bitch, you know what I mean? Like, you better be happy that I'm working here and I don't just flat fucking quit. But I hope the Lord set it up where because you done put time and invested. I done broke shit in that because we work in a, you know, environment. These huckies is so greedy, showing you how the scriptures talk about that greed cannot be satisfied. It's no room in this warehouse. But yet and still they stacking material on top of material. So everything in there tight. And they talking about safety. But motherfuckers, only so safe can you be. So when something get damaged, then you want to cry about it. But you, instead of just expanding the building, you know, like me and Jake was talking about that shit yesterday, about how he was like, this is plantation ass shit. You know, he motherfucker got all this money, you know, and yet still y'all won't even air condition out the building. You know. And then you got to understand, like, steel, it has pores and shit. Like, it conducts heat. So it's hot, extremely hot. So, you know, but that, you know, like I said, through the spirit, I was like, it's going to be a hot summer on top of this hot. You know what I mean? Good. And let it spiritually be hot. Let the Lord, like I said, because the Lord's, you know, I look at it like the Lord showing his indignation. The Lord's temper is hot. And that's why you're about to start coming with a lot of judgments. You know, I came across this channel on World Hip Hop. I don't even watch that shit, but what is it? World Hip Hop or something like that. And it's a guy, he do videos and he talking about Final Destination type judgment. And I remember an elder brother doing a lesson talking about, I didn't even get a chance to watch it, talking about how he said it's going to be next level supernatural judgments. And then you just seeing like a motherfucking tire go off. Or fall off their car, a motherfucker spin, hit a pole, and the pole. I mean, you can't make it up because it's all preordained, you know. And the Lord is, you know, wroth, and his wrath is going to be shown forth through Esau, Edom. So, I was about to get Jeremiah chapter 30. And verse 4, and it reads, and these are the words that the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua spake concerning Israel and concerning Judah. Verse 5, for thus saith the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, we have heard a voice of trembling, of fear, and not of peace. Verse 6, ask ye now and see whether a man doth travail with child. Wherefore do I see every man with his hands on his loins, as a woman in travail, and all faces are turned into paleness. Verse 7, alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. And who is the he? The he is the elect, you know, man, woman, and child, you know, out of that nation. Now, don't get me wrong. Well, out of the nation of Israel. Now, don't get me wrong. You're going to have some that's destined to be martyrs. But like I was listening to the elder, I never said everybody's going to just be, you know, put to death. The scriptures don't say that. Scriptures talk about a remnant, you know. But like the elder said, you got being prepared, talking about bug out bags and camping and learning how to do all the survival shit and not even having prepared their mind that you might be stuck in a concentration camp. You might be up under a guillotine. We don't know our lot, you know what I mean? We all want salvation, you know what I mean? But, Salakia, my mind a little bit everywhere and then like going on spiritually. But with that all being said, yeah, we in them times, and this article caught my attention, because the scriptures talk about a man that travailed with child, and it said, as a woman in travail, and all faces are turned into paleness. Because when you go into like cartoons, what they say, that stark raving mad, when you see you ever seen a person when they just lose it, snap, you ever like been fucking with somebody and they get completely go mad? I've seen women do it, I've seen men do it, I've done it. So or when a person's in fear, they literally, like, their countenance change, which their facial appearance, you know, like I always use the example of like Casper or one of those shows with ghosts, and the person see the ghost and then they just turn all the way white, either be scared or fright or frightened, and you seeing that coming, because now people don't know. Like I said, brothers put out that scenario. You got the scenario where they got it where they can easily label a citizen, oh, you're not a citizen. So, the Lord code with this, like, call law, for this truth. And like the brother said, I was listening to a particular brother, he was saying how we just got to get through this last little hump, because it's here. It ain't coming. It's here. I made a statement, they coming. No, they here. You know what I mean? They already got. You know what I mean? They say they got like 50,000 detainees, and they're building facilities to house more. I was gonna do a video about a chick, Amanda Seals, and she made the statement. She said, if you think that they just come on after the migrants, which that's common sense. I was saying that when they got the one guy, Garcia, like, he was a citizen. So the way that they tried to justify by getting him was saying that pretty much he was caught up with the Tren de Agua. I'm pronouncing it wrong. A lot of brothers call him MS-13, but MS-13 doesn't have the status they used to have. This Tren de Agua, I think it's Tren de Agua, pretty much has like become the big dog on the block or whatever, And you heard what he said. He said they're going after Springfield and they're going after Aurora, Colorado. So those gonna be proving grounds or places where they're gonna start these psyops. So if they in Springfield, Ohio, best believe they're gonna be in other counties in Ohio as well. Jake, you have been warned. So this caught my attention because the cold-bloodedness of this devil, And Vance is like on a level with Trump. It's a reason why he picked that guy. Just like it's a reason why they came out that he was wearing drag. Remember? Exposed him right before he ended up winning, like at the time he was running. Says Vance. Medicaid cuts and Senate tax bill immaterial compared to ICE increases. So as far as taking care of you, being reliant on the government, the system, they said that that's immaterial. They don't really like give a fuck or focus on that. That's inconsequential to the fact that we need to go get after these migrants. And it was spiritual because I was thinking about a title for a lesson. I was thinking, this straight gate leads to the MOTB. Something relatively along the lines of that, because everything that we're seeing and everything that's taking place and everything that's going on, is leading into one direction. And right, like 10 minutes later, a brother did a video talking about all roads lead to the MOTB. All roads lead to the MOTB. Because ultimately that's what it is, So you need to prepare, that's the thing about the spirit. Like, as much as I read the scriptures, I don't retain scriptures well. You know what I mean? I have a very bad memory for a multitude of reasons, but I do retain certain scriptures. I remember my demon, when I first met her, she told me to remember 3 scriptures and put them in your spirit. You know what I mean? The Lord used her to be a double-edged sword. But saying that to say this, I still remember them 3 scriptures. So, at the end of the day, the Lord will give you exactly what you need, because ultimately it tells you in the book of Revelations chapter 3 that because you kept my patience, I will keep thee in the hour of temptation. It's not going to be you doing anything. It's going to be the Spirit of the Lord on you. So, and like I said, and yeah, this devil is only going to increase. Scriptures tell you, what's that? Matter of fact, I get in Revelation chapter 12. It says, Revelation 12 and verse 12, and it reads, therefore rejoice ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is coming down. For the devil is come down unto you having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. And that's why you seeing these things going to increase. And ultimately, it's not only just affecting the brown Israelites, now it's affecting the darker Israelites, you Haitians, which Haitians could clash for, everyday Babylonian or everyday American. So, you best believe, and with government, the thing is, casualties take place, you got to understand, government is a big machine, that's why the scriptures talk about those that stand in great boldness. Because are you going to stand, or are you going to stand and maybe possibly get ran over? But with that possibility of being ran over through Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, he ultimately could break the fucking machine while it's trying to roll over you. You know what I mean? Because he's going to embed and hew. I might be using that word wrong, but he's going to pretty much grant and gift certain believers spiritual power to take down their enemy. The scriptures tell you, what's that? I want to keep this. Slovakia. What am I looking for? Isaiah. Isaiah chapter 59 and verse 19, and it reads, So shall they fear the name of the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua from the west, and his glory from the rising of the sun. When the enemy, which is Esau Edom, shall come in like a flood, the spirit of the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua shall lift up a standard against him. Which the standard, when you go into that word standard,
Strong's H 5127. Noose.
Says to flee, to escape, to take flight, depart, disappear, to put to flight. So he may give you the ability to fly. He may, what's that? I know it's in Leviticus, and I think one is in Deuteronomy, but it talks about how one shall taste 100, and 100 shall taste 1,000, roughly paraphrased. But the Lord is going to give certain men with power. I remember the elder brother from the West, he said, he would pray that the Lord pretty much hide him. Well, I think he said protect him, hide him, or make him a spiritual killing weapon. I don't think he said spiritual. He said a killing machine, or a sharp threshing instrument, Drive hastily to cause to disappear. So the Lord to fly to the attack on horseback. So the Lord is going to, again, protect his elect in different ways. But it says, I ain't trying to make this too long. I already went 20 minutes. Gotta get it to making my videos more concise. It says, in a series of social media posts, Vice President J.D. Vance said the cost of the GOP spending bill, including the effect of the largest cuts to Medicaid in history, which that's all in that big beautiful bill. These motherfuckers mocking you right in your face. You know what I mean? They talked about how it's coming out that pretty much, because the scriptures talk about never trust thine enemy. They talk about birthright citizenship, and pretty much that all came about because of slavery. What happened to our forefathers. But a lot of Israelites were slaves. And pretty much they said how Trump maybe can't legally doing it, but some kind of way he's gotten around legally doing this. So there's a lot going on. You know what I mean? Call Allah like how much shot, because again, that's terrifying. Brothers got families and whatnot. And that just show you how the Lord can come with judgment for those that's not doing the right thing. Because, you thinking you're doing the right thing and it's true, and then the Lord have something happen to your family or something happen to you. You know what I mean? I constantly thinking about that. You know what I mean? While, they turning up on Esau. While Esau Edom turning up on the Levites in Springfield, You got this devil turning up at my job. And like I said again, he ain't really did nothing, but we just both spiritually like, that's how you know he a Edomite. You know what I mean? Like literally, and I don't even know what the fuck he mad about. You know what's funny too? I got a notebook that I write down how I set up my lessons, and you know, the same day that the fucking devil told me I can't read in there, because it was like Satan jumped on him. Now, you know, I got everything but this little notebook. And I'm like, damn, did I? And I know I had the notebook because of the simple fact I was going to set up my lesson with it. You know, so it's funny that like now it's nowhere to be found. You know, just remember, Satan is watching, listening, everything. I was listening to the brother talk about how they can use your Wi-Fi router to literally spy and see who all in your house, all because of the devil devices, all because of his miracles. You know, and people is pretty much welcoming this shit. But like the elder brother said, he said, wait till this stuff start affecting you. Wait till you realize that you're really in the prison planet. Wait till they try to really have you actually have the mindset that you will own nothing and be happy. It says, including the effects of the largest cuts to Medicaid in history are immaterial compared to the money he says it will save through expanding funding for immigration enforcement. And the thing is this, what was that entry exit visa tracking system? You know, what do you think this is all about? You know, you got people pretty much, they say that people that's actually Americans being disappearing, you know, just disappearing, you know. Yeah. So what could solve that? That tiny T. So I didn't read all of that. I just wanted, you know, to show you their mindset. The scriptures talk about a cruel Lord. And we believe that God, DJ Trump is just that guy. I'm going to get that real quick, you know, which is the king of Babylon, because again, he's doing things that's unprecedented, that's never been heard of, and he's moving. He's not moving, you know, up under the wheel of, you know, the government. He's moving under the wheel of the elite. This is the book of Isaiah chapter 19. I'm just going to get to the point. In verse 4, and it reads, the Egyptians, which the modern day Egyptians is the Babylonians, aka these Americans, it says, shall fall in the Salakia, and the Egyptians will I give over into the hand of a cruel Lord. And this is the Lord speaking. So it's the Lord's will that he set up this guy, DJ Trump. You know, again, I can't see anything else happening, you know what I'm saying, besides, you know, I mean, it's all there. Like, again, you could try to, you know, that's the thing about a lot of people. They don't want, what's they say, out of sight, out of mind? No, that don't matter. You know, I watched in a lot of movies, they'll say, oh, I don't believe in the Lord. And the motherfucker like, I don't give a fuck. The Lord believe in you because he created you. And then when you sit back and start meditating on the Lord and his power, and you know what I mean, just like, I was listening to the brothers talk about that. They was talking about, just imagine because they said that some people's judgment was to literally be thrown off the plane because you got dead bodies washing up, people shackled that appeared to be migrants. And the thing is this, that's not far-fetched. That make a lot of sense to me, because you look at this man's track record in history. His motherfucking people are cruel, bestial. You gotta remember, like, say this man was raping men. Your blood, booty and rape is in the scriptures, but they don't say shit about no raping no men. So what kind of weird old spirit this motherfucker got? You know, and the Egyptians will I give over into the hand of a cruel Lord, and a fierce king shall rule over them, saith the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, the Lord of hosts. So, I mean, this is just the beginning of that, because like I said, they pushing that spirit out there. We need these ICE raids. And like I said, again, when you take time to think about it, that's going, it's so telegraphed. That's beautiful though. Like the scriptures say, and then they shall know that a prophet have been among you. We've been literally saying this, calling it word for word through the spirit and the power of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. First starting with our elders and apostles, the elders and apostles that taught me this truth, and then we watching it actually manifest, suddenly appear. So again, it can't go no other way. I can't tell you exactly when, but at the same time, it's got to be within these 4 years. That's why the spirit jumped on that damn devil. Which that got to be a weird motherfucker. These people did something to your family, and you still gonna I guess they say when they hell, the only person that can save you is the devil. I know that was on Saw. So when you in hell, the only person that could actually save you or protect you is Satan, you know. So, you know, RFK, I guess he like, fuck it. Knowing what they did to his peoples, though. So, I'm going to end this with Jeremiah because, you know, you constantly read Jeremiah chapter 30, and I always go to 4 through 7. But, you know, when you read up, it's actually beautiful because of the fact it talks about the Lord protecting us. Bear with me for a second. This is Jeremiah chapter 30, verse 7, and read, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it, which is the elect. For it shall come to pass in that day, saith the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua of hosts, that I will break his yoke from off thy neck, and will burst thy bonds, and strangers shall no more serve themselves of him, but they shall serve the Lord their power, because the Lord is going to break, you know, the yoke off of, you know, the Israelites. And said ultimately they're going to come serve the Lord. It tells you in the scriptures how all nations, what's that, Isaiah chapter 2, will come and worship in Jerusalem. But they shall serve the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua their power, and David their king, whom I will raise up unto them. Therefore fear thou not, O my servant Jacob, saith the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, neither be dismayed, O Israel, for lo, I will save thee from afar, and thy seed from the land of their captivity. And Jacob shall return, and shall be in rest, and be quiet, and none shall make him afraid. For I am with thee, saith the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, to save thee. And, you know, you got to wholeheartedly believe this. That's why I was able to step out, you know, because, again, I fear the Lord. You know what I mean? Like, again, like, say, the thing is, like, say, you sitting up there trying to appear like everything cool, and then you secretly got levied. The Lord fuck you up, like saying, like, I remember brother's testimony about death angel in the cap just killing, man, listen, you know what I mean? Like, nah, because the Lord is terrible, man, like, and great in power. Verse, so, you know what I mean? Again, you know, you know, and the thing is, the Lord can do whatever he like. You know what I mean? 2 men can be 2 men of the Lord. 2 men can be not 2 men of the Lord. You know what I mean? Just because you can say the Lord's name don't mean that the Lord with you. Yeah. And again, the Lord has kept his promise on everything else. You know, like, why wouldn't he keep his promise on this? When this is the biggest part of the movie. The best part of the movie is the climax. You know what I mean? The best part of the movie is the climax with the day of Jacob's trouble. The day of trouble, you know what I mean? That's the climax. Therefore fear thou not, O my servant Jacob, saith the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, neither be dismayed, O Israel. For I read that part. For I will, verse 11 again. For I am with thee, saith the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. Yahweh meaning he is, he exists, or he to be. Ba'ashem, Ba'az, in Haz, does Shem his name. Yahushua meaning he saves, or he delivered. True names of the Most High God and his Son, who people ignorantly call God and Jesus Christ, whose true name in the Paleo Hebrew is Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. Though I make a full end of all the nations, whether I have scattered thee, yet will I not make a full end of thee. Because it's going to always be a remnant. But I will correct thee in measure, and will not leave thee altogether unpunished. And that's your day of Jacob's trouble. Skip to verse 16. Therefore all they that devour thee shall be devoured. That's going to all the nations, because basically all the nations prey on us. Look at our communities where you got these different nations and these heathens setting up, you know, from Moab to Ishmael, you know, and they profit off of us and then take the wealth and the money out of the neighborhoods, and you wonder why everything is so downtrodden. It says, and all thine adversaries, every one of them shall go into captivity, and they that spoil thee shall be a spoil, and all that prey upon thee will I give for a prey. You know, and this is, like I said again, this is a lot of good, you know, that's a lot. You know, that's a lot of, like, hope, you know what I mean? Because that's all you gonna be able to hope in. Again, you got Jake sitting up here talking about we gotta join in and all that. And I feel him, but at the same time, we hide ourselves in the truth. Scriptures talk about in Psalm chapter 91, he that dwelleth in a secret place, because we hide in these scriptures. And the thing is, we really ain't hiding because they know who doing what. You got Agent Vocab or Agent Riser or whatever you want to call it. I can just see, through the spirit, like, yeah, never met that motherfucker, but just like this nigga got 12 cameras. That nigga the police. That's why I believe, like I said it before, I believe that's why the spirit did what it did. Because, like I said, I wasn't planning on going nowhere. That's one thing. I was listening to the elder say something. That's just like with this job. I know myself enough. That's one thing you should know about yourself. You should know, and you really don't fully know yourself until you actually conquer something or go through something. Because sometimes you can go through something and not actually conquer it. But that's why sometimes we fall down and get back up. But I'm not good at kissing ass. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just trying not to, of course I got, loved ones and that humbles you. But, to see the thing is I'll take less money before, and again, I ain't been down. I ain't been belittled or talked down upon. It's more so just motherfucker. Like you think I'm for the audacity because you think I get paid this amount of money. I'm gonna just take everything, and I'm not. Like fuck this job. You know what I'm saying? Like at the end of the day, I would rather keep because there's a whole bunch of miserable motherfuckers in there. You know what I mean? And before I become miserable like you, I would rather just, I should just went to the other job. Though. You know what I'm saying? Like. Motherfuckers lied about the vacation time and all that, and then are you surprised? I'm not in the least bit because, this is the devil. What do you expect? Salakia. So may the Lord put the spirit on me to hold on if that's his will. Because like I say again, I may, just because I might not like something or be uncomfortable or don't want to deal with it, doesn't mean the Lord doesn't want to, try me through that. Like we all about to be tried, So, just expect everything to increase, everything, So with that, I'm gonna end the lesson. If you're so-called Black, Hispanic, Native American, Seminole Indian, West Indian, or Haitian, I implore you to come back to the law, statutes, commandments of your power, before, it's too late, I encourage brothers to stay locked in, because this is all we got, you know what I mean? We ain't got our families, they showing you they can take you away from your family or Salakia, the Lord showing you he could take you away from your family, instantly. Just imagine all them people that just literally got snatched up from the ice raids, you can't even say you got the brotherhood because at the end of the day, the scriptures talk about seek out your own salvation. Now this thing is a beautiful thing, having the brothers. Scriptures tell you, two is better than one, and a brother's born for adversity, and multitude of scriptures, But at the end of the day, you got to be in this knowing, brother just did a video about that. The lesson was titled, and I ain't even watching none of these videos. I'm looking at the title of lessons because they speak volumes and they spiritual within themselves. That's why brothers take great pride in naming the video a particular type of title. But ultimately, all you have is, your faith, your integrity, and your trust and belief in Yahweh Shem Yahshua. And all of us is about to be tried. May the elect, remain faithful. So with that, I want to give all praise, all honor, and all glory to Allah Yahweh, by Shem Yahshua, by Shem double honors to the elders and to the apostles that taught me this truth. Peace and salutations to the Akim across the four corners of the earth, pushing this truth with faith and with sincerity, as well as risking their lives and their freedom to do so. Now more so than never. Shalom to the Akim and the Akwat that they're listening and learning, Lord willingly. This is edifying. Shalom to the Israelite foreigners scattered abroad in the land of other nations, appearing like the other nations, but subscribing to this truth. To you, I say shalom. Till next time, Lord willingly, shalom, shalom. Kwam Yasharallah, Mawathlap Abal.